It is win or go home time, and it's going to be going down at the United Center tonight. So, on today's episode, we're going to talk about the biggest challenges that the Chicago Bulls are facing in their win or go home showdown versus the Miami Heat. Y'all know we're going to talk about it and break it down, but you know you got to hear the music first.
Cognac. Gang.
Shy Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on today's daily episode. If you're tuned in with me today, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well. Just want to give a big shout out to you all for supporting the channel. The growth has been tremendous, but now it's time to get into the content. The Chicago Bulls take on the Miami Heat later tonight, and the loser, go ahead and just get your family ready to go on vacation. The winner is going to go on and face Trae Young, who crashed out yesterday on the basketball court in the Atlanta Hawks in a matchup to see who's going to grab that 8th seed for this year's NBA playoffs. Now, we know the Chicago Bulls have faced the Miami Heat 3 times this season and have not lost to these Miami Heat. Now, they go into a 1-game elimination match. You win, you move on. You lose, you move on to vacation. That's just how it's going to go. Now, I'm going to put it out there just like this. Beating a team 4 times is a tall task. The Chicago Bulls do have a couple things going for themselves. You are at home. You do have the home crowd. I anticipate that the crowd is going to be going bonkers just to see if the Chicago Bulls can pull this off. The play-in so far has been extremely fun to watch with the Orlando Magic and the Atlanta Hawks and the Memphis Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors. Those 2 games taking place last night. But those now we move on to the games taking place tonight. And now Chicago Bulls, they got a tall task ahead of them. So I wanted to talk about some of their biggest challenges that they're going to face going into this matchup, just to see if the Chicago Bulls can finish this thing and move on. You got to get the Heat out the way. One of the biggest challenges that I'm looking at is simple. Beating the team 4 times. It's a tall task to do. I know in the best of 7, hey, we seen a team go out there and lose 3-1. We seen teams come back down from 2-2 or 3-2 and go out there and close the deal. But this ain't no 7-game series. This is a 1-game matchup. The Chicago Bulls, they released something from their media on X to where they was going through practices, and guys say, we understand what's the task at hand, and we're going to be ready. So once the ball gets tipped in the air, will they actually be ready? We shall see. One of those things when it comes to the challenges, when it starts to look at our players, is Josh Giddey. We have to start it off with him because Josh Giddey has been whooping the Miami Heat all season long. He's been whooping them all season long. The last game, Josh Giddey put up 28 points, 16 rebounds, and 11 assists. But the problem is the concern is, will that wrist be all right? Because not only did Josh Giddey go out there and fill the stat sheet well, he shot the ball extremely well, was active on the defensive end, and the Miami Heat had no answers. They tried to switch Bam on him, he cooked. They tried to put Davion Mitchell on him, he cooked. So will Josh Giddey be ready for the task at hand tonight? The expectation is for him to go out there and play. The last game that they played, he played 40 minutes. And it was every minute was valuable to get the win versus the Miami Heat. Another question or another challenge is, how effective will Kobe White be? Because the last time we seen Kobe White, he wasn't necessarily himself. Not bad for when I was watching the game, but if the Chicago Bulls want to get ready for this slugfest, Kobe White has to give us more than 18 points. I did go out there and give Kobe White credit for how he just let the game come to himself. He put up 18 points, 5 rebounds, but one of the problems that I seen was 0 for 5 from the three. We can't have that. Now I will give him kudos to this. He did get his behind to the foul line and went 8 for 8 from that foul line, from the free throw line, putting the pressure on the Miami Heat to close the deal. And this game is gonna go down to the wire. In my anticipation, the Bulls could absolutely go out there and skunk them. But I don't anticipate that happen with an Eric Spoelstra team, and how well he can coach up his team and how they anticipate this game to go and how ready I believe they'll be for tonight's matchup. Another challenge is which Chicago Bull will step up. Who's going to be the X factor? Now, you had guys that came in that's a part of your starting lineup. You had Montes Buzelis give you 17 and 4. You had Kevin Huerter give you 22 and 7 assists and went 4 and 9 from 3. And Nikola Vucevic looked like he was bought in. Hold on. Nick Vooch went 20 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Can we get a repeat of that performance, Nikola Vucevic? Because if they're going to utilize Bam Adebayo to guard Josh Giddey, Nick Vooch, you got to work out Khalil Ware. I ain't going to lie to you. You got to take it to Khalil Ware and absolutely let him know that I'm the big dog around here and you can't let him have nothing. But you did have guys come off the bench like a Dalen Terry and hit 2 big-time threes for the Chicago Bulls. You did get some input from other guys like a Zach Collins and a Julian Phillips a little bit there. But who's going to be the guy that steps up the most to help the Chicago Bulls? Now, I don't anticipate there being a lot of minutes being distributed out there to the other guys that are going to be coming off the bench. But when you do come in the game, in one of these high-pressure moments, how effective will you be? I got my money on Montes Buzelis in the starting lineup. He has to go out there and be aggressive. I need my money to be well spent on Kevin Huerter. You got to be able to go out there and be effective during your time. But who's going to be the guy to come off the bench and provide those good minutes? Doesn't look like Dalen Terry is going to go. So is it going to be Julian Phillips? Will it finally be Patrick Williams? Will it finally be Patrick Williams to come off the bench and not get called Peppermint Patty? Instead, we give him the name P. Will back at least for a game, because we all agree. P. Will, we have no high expectations for this young player right now as it currently stands, but we do understand if we get an aggressive P. Will who's going to go out there and stick defense, grab boards, and hit shots, hey, that's better for the team. So who's going to be that X factor for the Chicago Bulls? The Chicago Bulls are coming out and pretty much saying, hey, we're going to be ready. We understand what's going to happen. If we play our game, we know we can beat this team. But I will say this, go in with confidence. Don't go in with arrogance, because that's how you can lose that game tonight. You go in with confidence. Don't go in with arrogance, and understand there will be ebbs and flows in this game. Don't get down on yourself. Understand the task at hand, and understand if you go out there and make shots, stick defense, get the 50-50 balls, you will give yourself a greater chance of winning this basketball game that is coming up. Now, Eric Spoelstra on the other end, hell of a coach. A hell of a coach. He said after that last loss to the Chicago Bulls, where the Bulls, finish out the game, and you had Tyler Hero take that inadvised 3-point shot when he could have just laid it in, and it could have been down to a 3-point lead. At the press conference, Eric Spoelstra spoke with some confidence about his team, pretty much saying that if we match up versus this team in the play-in, I believe we come out the better team. That's some bulletin board material. That's some things that he gonna stand by. And we know that the Heat, they have built this culture to where, hey, it's us against the world. We're going to go out there and we're going to put our best foot forward, and we're going to see what's to it. That right there, though, that comment from Eric Spoelstra, bro, as a competitor, I'm taking that to heart. But I'm not going to be over-emotional about it. I'm just going to come out there and bust your ass. So I hope that the Chicago Bulls come out there and bust their ass. Literally. Like, just go out there and handle business and let them know we want to move on to the playoffs. We want to go see Atlanta. Show me that you want it more, Chicago. Show me that you're ready to take things show me that you want this more than the Miami Heat, who has some play-in experience beating the Chicago Bulls. That's probably why Eric Spoelstra is speaking this way, because we've seen the Miami Heat crush the dreams of the Chicago Bulls multiple times in the last few years in the play-in. You know what I'm saying? Or just in the regular season, or just in the playoffs too. Long history going back down the road. We ain't gotta revisit that though. But we are on to new things. We are hoping that these young guys rise to the occasion to where we can get in, win this game, and then go and see the Atlanta Hawks so we can say, hey, winner takes all. You win, you the AFC, and if not, you going home. So you got to handle business. My question for the Chicago Bulls is, how do you neutralize a Bam Adebayo and a Tyler Hero? Last game, Tyler Hero had a decent game. Outside of the ill-advised three-point shot that he took, he dropped 30. Will you allow him to drop 30 again? Do you say, hey, go ahead and get yours and we just going to focus on the other ones? Or if you look at Bam Adebayo, who only had 18 points in the last matchup with the Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat, do you look at that and say, hey, as long as we keep Bam, you know what I'm saying, down his point totals down, we should be all right? What is going to be the game plan here? Now, because if you're looking at the last matchup, Jaime Jaquez didn't play. That's another scoring option for the Miami Heat who can really affect the game. So the Chicago Bulls have to see how they can neutralize not only those top guys for the Miami Heat, but you got to see how you can neutralize the others that might be able to light you up on the other end. That's your Jaime Jaquez. That's your Duncan Robinson, who only scored 2 points in the last matchup versus the Chicago Bulls. And we know if he can get hot from three, it can be a long night for the Chicago Bulls if they don't adjust correctly. It can be a long night for those guys. And I'm sure Jaime Jaquez is itching to get in this game to show what he's made of. I believe in one of the last games that he played in during the regular season before the season ended, he dropped 40. He has those type of capabilities. I understand that most teams were sitting players and he was going against certain players that might not be up to the level, or it wasn't that type of pressurized moment like this game will be. But he still is a hell of a player and can perform well if you don't adjust correctly and you don't come out 100% focused. You got to come out focused and you got to be ready to go. Because if you allow Jaime Jaquez or you allow Duncan Robinson to just go out there and flourish, it could be a long night for the Chicago Bulls. And Davion Mitchell, he's a hell of a defender. And we mostly think about him as being a hell of a defender. But he put up 17 points in that last matchup too. So it's going to be some challenges for the Chicago Bulls. It's going to be how well Billy Donovan is going to have this team prepared. Everybody should be feeling good, but you got to handle business. Been saying it for the last few weeks. Handle your business. Don't think too forward. Don't think too far ahead. You have to take care of the task at hand. You got to take care of your business. And if you don't take care of your business, the season is ending today. I don't hope that I want to see the Chicago Bulls make the playoffs, but it's not predicated on me coming up here on a podcast saying that the Bulls need to do this or guaranteeing anything, because nothing is guaranteed in this league. Nothing is guaranteed in this league. Last night, we seen the Memphis Grizzlies go on a strong run, and it looked like they was about to come back and take that game. And then guess what? Ja Morant hit the ground with that ankle. In those few minutes that he was out there, that he was on the bench trying to get right to come back in, hey, the Golden State Warriors tried to pull away. They pull back in. Then you make a mistake by not getting the ball inbounded into the court. Things happen like that all the time. So the Chicago Bulls have to be ready. Billy Donovan has to make sure that his head is on the swivel and that he is 100% focused along so with his players. They have to ensure that they are focused at the task at hand, because the Chicago Bulls could very well beat the Miami Heat, but they can very well lose to the Miami Heat if they don't come out focused and hit their shots, because we just seen the game with the Orlando Magic and the Atlanta Hawks, a team go out there and just completely dominate the game. The Orlando Magic dominated the game defensively and offensively, especially in that third quarter going into the fourth. Yeah, especially when Trae Young was trying to come back and help will his team back. Nah, Bulls got to be able to take a couple jabs and be able to hit back hard. That's how this matchup is going to go. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. This is one of those games too. I'm like, man, I hate that it's damn just a one game situation. Damn, it couldn't be 3. It couldn't be 3. But this is how it is. You can't go out there and sit there and make excuses. You can't sit out there and wish that something would have been different. You just got to focus at the task at hand and work with the cards that you have been dealt. This game is going to be exciting. It is going to be one hell of a game. It's going to be one hell of a game. So we just got to make sure that we're locked in and we doing the best that we can to ensure that the Chicago Bulls pull this out with a victory, because that'll feel really, really good headed down to Atlanta to match up versus them. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's ensure that we are taking our time with this. Let's ensure that we are focused on the task at hand, and that is the Miami Heat trying to prevent us from going to the playoffs. So the Chicago Bulls got to make sure they handle business. And guys like Montes Buzelis, Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Nikola Vucevic, all these guys have to come prepared and ready to play. And it's going to come down to who wants it more. Who wants it more? Who take cares the basketball more? Who is more focused? Who can hit the better shots? Who can have a greater impact on the game? It's going to come down to all that. But we will be live later today with the live call. So if you're tuning in, subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. It is going to be a live interaction for us with C-Dub on the P's and Q's calling the commentary. And we're going to be ready to rock and roll to see if the Chicago Bulls can pull it off. Game tips off at 7:30 Eastern. And we hope to see you all there, because it's going to be one close game, an entertaining game to watch. Maybe it not. It may. What if it's not close? I'm just saying. What if it's not close? We'll see. We'll see. But I anticipate this game going down to the last few possessions of the game, and may the better team win. May the better team win. And I hope I get to throw on them Carolines with y'all. Y'all know we ready to sing Caroline on live. But nonetheless, that is it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all so much for tuning in into another episode of Shy Bulls Podcast. Make sure before you get up out of here, you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell, man. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all always see red, and y'all already know. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure.
Cognac. Gang.